Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to share about the government support packages in relation to the key measures to save jobs for companies. So before we move into some of the key measures, I would like to run through the National Wage Council guidelines with all of you. In order to save jobs, the NWC encourages employers to consider the following in the order of priority. First, to reduce non-wage costs and to manage excess manpower. Second, to tap on the government support and press on with business and workforce transformation. Third is to trim wage costs. And lastly, if you have done all points 1, 2, and 3, and you still think that it is necessary to retrench workers, then employers have to ensure that this is done in a responsible manner. On Guideline 1, NWC encourages companies to focus on the training, upskilling, and also adopting flexible work hours for their employees. And also in times like this, employers are some of the employers have already implemented job sharing arrangements, shorter work weeks, as well as temporary layoffs. So for such affected workers, employers should try and support them if they're interested to take up part-time or temporary work in order to supplement their income. On guideline number 2, this is basically asking employers to bring forward their training programs for employees to upgrade their existing skills or to train them in emerging skills so that they can continue to remain employable. Companies can also set up company training committees, so who will be able to help employers build in-house working learning capabilities, conduct road mapping, as well as to re-strategize their business. And lastly, they should also think of sharing their productivity gains with their employees so as to take advantage of the benefits from the wage credit scheme, which we will talk about later in the slides. On guideline number 3, regarding wage recommendations, trimming of wages, 3 scenarios. Firstly, if the employers are adversely impacted by COVID-19, they can NWC recommend them to reduce wages, with the management leading by example. And when reducing wages, they should try and moderate the impact of such wage reduction for workers who are on commission-based variable payments, who are receiving overtime payments, or employees who have been asked to take no pay leave, so that the impact to them is not so good, not so huge. Employers can also consider the adjustment of the monthly variable wage component if they're already on this scheme, so that they can adjust this MVC if they still think that the monthly wages are unsustainable. Employers should endeavor to continue to pay AWS, and when applying wage reduction, whether to local or foreigners, employers should make sure that this is done so fairly. Next, for employers who have done and are still doing well, they should continue to reward their workers with variable payments and think of building in wage increases if they feel that the business is facing future uncertainties. And lastly, they should try and soften the impact for low wage workers. So for workers earning basic monthly wage of up to 1,400, they should think of freezing the wage if their company's policy now is to reduce wages. And they should also consider built-in wage increase if the current policy is to freeze or to increase wages. And of course, during times of need, like the current situation, workers will step up during this challenging period. Companies should think of rewarding them with ex gratia payments. Lastly, if they're thinking of retrenching workers, it should be done so responsibly. The selection of employees to retrench should be done in a fair and objective manner. And if the company is unionized, they should consult MOM or consult the unions. Longer notice periods should be given during this period, and the retrenchment benefits should be given in line with the tripartite advisory on the MOM website. Employers who has the ability should also help employees to look for jobs. So we now look at the first scheme, which is the Job Support Scheme, known as JSS. So this scheme helps enterprises to retain their local employees by providing up to 25% cash grant on gross monthly wages with cap at 4,600 per local employee. So there is no need for companies to do anything because to qualify, this is automatically calculated with the CPF records and administered by IRAS. The payout dates has also been enhanced to be paid out in 3 tranches. From the table, you'll be able to see that the first tranche would have been already calculated and the first payout would be in 2 months' time in end May 2020. The next 2 tranches will be paid in July 20 and October 20 respectively. Also, for sectors that are more badly affected, like for example, the aviation and tourism sector, this JSS will provide up to 75% of their wages support, and food services will get up to 50% of the support. Next is the wage credit scheme, where there is an increase in the co-funding level by the government to 20% and 15% for 2019 and 2020 respectively. And the gross monthly wage ceiling has also increased from $4,000 to $5,000. Again, there is no need for companies to do anything if they fulfill the first 3 criteria listed here. The amount is auto-calculated through the CPF records and administered by IRAS. The usual paid out date is on the 31st March yearly. So for the current year, it has been brought forward to 30th June 2020 due to the current circumstances. So what does this mean? Over here, you would see that in the 2019 column, you'll be able to see that as of March 31st, 2020, 15% has already been paid out. This was the original co-funding percentage before the enhancement. So based on an enhancement, it should be 20%. So an additional 5% would be paid out in June 2020. So that's all I have for the measures to help companies save jobs. Thank you.